Miss Jones. So this is the bag. It's a pretty big bag. It has huge pockets. It has another pocket here. And it has another pocket here. The coolest pocket I think ever is this one inside. And so we're going to do a tutorial on how to make this cool, and this is the lined inside, cool blue jeans. What do you want to name this?
Bag. A cool blue jean bag. Made from blue jeans.
Okay, so okay, what you're gonna need, and I recommend, is some big blue jeans. I got these at a Goodwill store. These are some pretty cool lane blank jeans, you know, for us community of chubby people. But I got this for like less than $6. Okay, so let's get started. You're going to need a pair of blue jeans. It doesn't matter where you get them. I also recommend you get a yard of blue jean fabric that matches your blue jeans, because you're going to need that for the straps, and 1 yard of lining fabric. Any kind of lining decorative fabric that you love. Also, these are the cutting instructions on the top that she used for her bag. I changed mine, and the reason I changed mine is because I wanted to use all of the jean, so I used the back pockets. So this is my front and back panel. Extra fabric that I'm going to turn into pockets for the inside of the bag. So I'm just showing you how it looked originally before I decorated it. And this is the back panels. That's why mine's different. I wanted to use those pockets. I didn't want to not use them. So I cut mine, I believe it was 10 by 14.5 on both right and left, and I added another piece 10 by 14.5 for the bottom part of the bag. Now also your lining, cut your lining exactly the same as you cut your top fabric. Now you can make your pockets whatever size. These are the dimensions she had for her pockets, and you're also going to use ribbon or any decorative designs that you wanted to. This is a Dritz ribbon that I found at Joann's, and she used fabric, so you can use whatever you want to decorate your bag. You're not limited. Also the strap, she cut hers 3 by 30. I decided to make my strap fatter, so I cut mine 4 by 30. But it's all whatever you want. You're not limited by what we decided to do. It's all up to you. So this is going to be one of my front pockets. What I did is I embroidered a butterfly on it. You can go to Hancock or Joann's or Hobby Lobby and decorate yours however you want, or have a friend embroider it for you if you have somebody. What we did here is we used wedge stitch to fold over the top seam to give it a little bit more structure. I just wanted a little bit thicker up there. And now we're deciding how we're going to decorate it. I love Elmer's glue, you guys know, right? We're going to use that Elmer's glue to tack down the ribbon. And I'm going to just follow her around, and I'm going to heat baste it so it doesn't move. So here I'm picking my thread colors and deciding what I want to do, and I'm sewing that top ribbon down. Now since the ribbon is already heat basted on, it's not going to shift on me. That's what I love Elmer's glue for. And I'm going to go ahead and do this top edge of the ribbon and the bottom edge of the ribbon. I'm doing it twice. Remember, I want that to be real structured and strong so it doesn't get flimsy when it's on the bag itself. Now here's my front panel, and I'm going to go ahead and pin that front pocket around. Remember, we haven't stitched the ribbon around yet, and this is why, because we're going to stitch all 3 kind of elements together. So on the edge of the inside of the ribbon, I'm going all the way around as you see me there, and on the outside of the ribbon, kind of the edge, I'm going to stitch a second time all the way around. I want to make sure that this pocket does not move, it doesn't shift on me, and it doesn't go anywhere, to be honest. I don't want to be going back and fixing it. And I also did that to the back fabric, as you see the other back panel right there. And here I am just stitching all the way around again, and I'm just letting you see it. Okay, so now you see that I stitched the back pocket also, and now we're working on the side panels. Remember, mine's different because I wanted to go ahead and use the back pockets of the blue jean. And so
I cut mine 10 by 14.5, and I added another piece 10 by 13.5 wide, the same width as my front and back panel. So here I am just pinning it together, and I'm going to go ahead and sew those pieces together. So what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and connect your 3 pieces together, or like she did, she just had a long big strip, and you're going to start connecting one of your panels, your front or back panel, to one of the side panels, to the side panel. And in a minute you'll get a better visual, like right there how I pinned it. And I'm going to go ahead and fold that panel that I just connected, fold it in half, and connect the other piece. Now you're going to connect your right side and your left side, and remember, after you're done doing that, you're also going to stitch your bottom panel also. And now we're just connecting the sides to make that bag. And here you see me connecting that one area and taking out the pins, and I'm just going to show you what it's going to look like on the side. And now I'm getting ready to sew that bottom part of the panel, and I'm stitching all the way around. Remember, don't sew all the way to the very bottom. Give yourself a fourth so that you have room to sew that bottom panel. And it'll just sew really nice and clean, and you won't have that puckering or ripples. I went ahead and I ironed everything, and I folded the fabric like you just saw, and now we're connecting the front panel. It doesn't matter, we're just connecting another panel to the bag. And I pinned the sides, and I also pinned the bottom. You could start from the top and go all the way around. I just tend to sew both sides, leave myself a fourth on the bottom, and then just sew that bottom piece together. But some people just like sewing all the way around, and if that works for you, that's going to work also. And we're going to go ahead and just iron and make sure that everything is nice and stitched. Now what I did here, I also did with my lining. It's exactly the same process. You add your pockets and put your pockets wherever they want to go. And what I did is I stuffed the lining, and I stitched on the very top edge of the front and the lining bag. Now we're going to start working on the waistband. Now remember, the waistband is like, because it opens, it's like 2 openings. And I want to make sure it's one continuous flowing line, because we're going to tuck that waistband into the bag. And so what I did is I went ahead and I cut the fabric, and I folded the fabric over, almost lining on top of it. And I'm going to go to the sewing machine and make a clean straight stitch. What I want to do is I want to make sure that area is open and it flows like one continuous line, as I'm showing you there. And I'm going to the sewing machine, and I'm going to stitch that down. But when I stitch it down, I'm making sure that the blue jean area isn't being stitched at all. So here I'm stitching that inside lining of that waistband, and I'm going to go ahead and show you where I also did another cut on the top so that the buttons connect to itself, and it just wanted to make one complete circle without any openings. And I'm going to the very top area right there, and make sure that that area is nice and secure, as if it was just like putting a belt on. And I'm going to stitch all the way down, but leaving myself a 1/2 inch opening at the bottom so that I'm able to tuck that bag into that waistband. And what I'm going to do after this, after we're done doing this, I'm going to show you that it is still open on the bottom, so that bag can still tuck into that space. And I'm going to measure my bag now. I want my bag and my waistband, they have to be the same size. So I measured my bag, and now I'm measuring my waistband, and I'm going to go ahead and cut off any extra space or extra fabric that I have on my waistband. And what I did is I opened the seam up, and I'm sewing a straight stitch all the way down. And then I'm going to cut off all the excess fabric right there. Now, the reason I'm doing this is I want to make sure that my waistband and my bag are the same size. And I'm going to start getting some pins, and I'm going to start tucking in where that opening on the waistband is, and tuck the bag into that space as if I was making the blue jeans, I guess. And I'm making sure that the top of my bag and the inside lining is tucked in. So I'm making sure that pin goes through like 4 layers. And here you see what it looks like on the inside, and in a minute I'll show you what it looks like on the top. I'm also making sure that everything's nice and straight and that the waistband and the bag fit together nice and snugly, I guess. But I decided also here just to add an embellishment. So I wanted to add ribbon. So I'm just sewing ribbon on top of the waistband and going all the way around. And now it's time to make those handles. My handles were 4 inches. So you cut 4 inches by 30 and you fold it in half and here, and then you right side out them because you're sewing it together like you see me there. And then what I did is I ironed it and I went ahead and I sewed a full seam on each side so that they were nice and flat. And here I'm making sure that my two handles, they're pretty long. They ended up being 2 inches wide by 30 inches long, and I'm making sure that they're nice and even because the next part of this is I'm going to go ahead and tuck the handles to the bag. I made sure I had 2 inches from the end and I tucked it into the waistband. And now I'm going to start sewing the very top of that handle first, and I'm going to go forwards and backwards to that edge, and now I'm going to start sewing right where we pinned all that together, and I'm going to go all the way around. Since I tucked my handles into that waistband, everything right now should be able to be easily sewn. Now be careful with those sucker pins because they really do hurt, and you see me here just following that pin line because once I pinned everything and made sure that everything was nice and straight, I knew that everything was going to be okay when I sewed because it was connected to the lining and the back fabric. Now here, what you see me doing is stitching another seam above the first seam that I did. So I'm stitching this twice, going all the way around the bag, just making sure it's nice and secure. And you see me going all the way around, and you see that second stitch. Now it's time to sew in those buckles. And I'm going to go forwards and backwards, and I'm moving my bag around, and I'm going to sew that buckle down and going forwards and backwards. And what I decided to do with my bag is to use my crystals and start embellishing. Remember, I got my crystals at Hobby Lobby, and I just used a hot iron and pressed everything down. And this is what the front of my bag looks like. And I put crystals. I'm just showing you where I put crystals. And this is what I did to those back pockets. I just embellished them with crystals going all the way around. Now, Miss Jeanette Jones' bag is totally different from mine. Mine is a little bit more simpler, I guess. This is my style, and this is her bag. And I'm going to show you a couple other of her pockets. I hope you really like this tutorial. I really do thank Mrs. Jones for helping me, and I hope I see you next time. Have a wonderful day.